Ho 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 ho! Ho 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 ho. Merry Christmas, folks! Yep, we're getting that time of year. Christmas. That's right. Coming up in just a couple days. We're only a few days out. I hope you got your stockings hung by the chimney with care in hopes that somebody like me will soon be there. Anyway, dressing up for Christmas, Christmas colors and wool, gotta have my wool. So it was, we had snow on the ground for 3 or 4 weeks here. And I didn't get out and do anything, more or less because I just wasn't enthusiastic about it. It's always more fun when you have a friend to go out and do something with, go out into the woods or whatever. But, a lot of that stuff's kind of old hat to me, but if I were gonna, I've done too many big things. The little things are not as appealing anymore, you know what I mean? But, I keep my skills up, and I do flip through outdoors books, and bushcraft and survival books and things like that to keep my wheels turning about that up there. I do that. And I still get the knives out every now and then. Just not as much these days. Yeah. But this time of year is really a good time for a lot of you guys that have some property to find out where your game is walking and traveling, because they leave behind their footprints, So if you could go out there and identify what footprints are what, and then track those prints around your property, and then you'll know where everybody's like doing their errands, rabbits and other creatures, I have not seen with my own eyes turkeys on this property for about 5 years, 6 years, 5 or 6 years at the least. I have not seen turkeys, and I barely ever see turkeys on the road now. I used to see whole flocks of turkeys, and I don't see them anymore. It's a possibility that people were whacking them during the pandemic, maybe knocked down their numbers a bit. But I got excited a couple of days ago because I went outside and I was going to go down to my cellar for something. I'm not sure I remember what it was, but I went down to the cellar. I went down to get a 5-gallon can of gasoline, petrol. And because I was low on fuel in the truck, so I keep extra fuel at the house for, ride on tractor and the truck and the snow blower and, the brush hog and things like that, right? So anyway, I was low on fuel in the truck. I thought, well, because we, get busy around here. Well, thinking about something. I can't remember. Anyway, put the fuel in. But getting to the point, because I'm off on a tangent again. The point is that when I went outside and I went around to the side of the house to go to the cellar, I do have a cellar door in the house. You know, I'm sure that was put in at a later date, as well as the stairs, because this is a very old house and the cellar used to be the double doors that you open like this, but they dug it all out so that you could walk down there upright and not have to go downstairs from a double door. So they took this is kind of irritating, really, because I like things like the double doors and all the old architectural features, you know. But it does make it easier for me to drive the snowblower out of the cellar. Okay, you get what I'm saying here? I have to put a ramp up, then I back the snowblower out of the cellar. I'm off on another tangent. Okay, so I'm on my way down there. I came out the back door, went around, going around to the side of the house. It snows on the ground. And then I saw these tracks, and I was like, what's that? You know, and then I went over there and I got all excited. Those were turkey tracks. Turkey tracks. The turkey had meandered along my driveway, walked through the snow, leaving the telltale sign that sucker was there. So went off that way towards my backwoods, and I immediately abandoned the cellar. Because I've been looking for turkeys. You know, it's that time of the year. So anyway, immediately abandoned the cellar idea for the moment. That took off looking for where that turkey may have went to. Couldn't find any more tracks beyond that. I think that he went a little ways, and I think he may have took flight to the back. Turkeys can fly. They can't fly great, and they can't fly huge distances, but they can fly. Anyway, I never saw no turkey after that. Got the turkey collar out a little bit, you know. It's messing about, nothing. Anyway, I abandoned that. But I did notice that there were a lot of rabbit tracks. I noticed some were babies. There were some baby rabbit tracks out there as well. I also noticed a large print, looked maybe like a wolf or a coy wolf, as they call some of the new species that they have crossbred. So some call them coy wolves. I'm thinking I want to call them wolfodies instead of coy wolf. Coy wolf sounds kind of stupid, like, you know, wolf being sly, pretending to be a coyote or something. I don't know. But these numbnut leftists, liberal rejects in Massachusetts, they're the ones that let the wolf back into the environment here in New England. And obviously they did not have the foresight to see that they were going to breed with coyotes. So now you got even more predators competing for the same food in the New England area. I got a lynx here on the property, or I had one. I haven't seen him this year. I'm going to be looking. And then I have a Luger, a lynx cougar mix, mountain lion, right? And I know for a fact because I've seen it with my own two eyes. This thing has the head of a lynx and a fairly decent sized body, and then it has the long drooping tail of the cougar or mountain lion. Okay, and in the winter you could see where it's walked, because you could see where that tail dragged left and right as it's walking forward. Okay, you'll see a little drag mark, like dragging a hose or something, you know. Good sized tail. But I'm going to be on the lookout for that. I don't want them to eat all my rabbits, though. I'm sure you could guess why. So, anyway, I ended up getting to the cellar a little while later. Got the gasoline, petrol, right? Went and put that into the vehicle. So it's been a busy time of year, all the way since trick or treat. You know, giving out candy to the kiddies. Did Thanksgiving. I made a meal of the usual stuff: cranberries and bird meat, I should say. I don't get meat from the store anymore. Not since the pandemic. No. When all that nonsense started up, I started canning meat. I still got meat. 5 years out, still got meat. Got jars of meat up there on the shelves. Yeah. I got meat on the shelves. I got meat in boxes on the floor. Yeah. Still got meat, you know. But eventually that will wear out. Not wear out. It will, you know, run out. You know, eventually that meat will run out. But the thing is when they start talking about putting mRNA in injecting your meat and all that stuff, all right, you only got a finite window to get meat before the new stuff, the new coming in is gonna have that crap in there, right? So you don't want that in there. I'm not gonna start getting off on a long-winded rant, but you know, all the people that have died in my area, sudden heart issues and turbo cancer, all of a sudden they had stage 4 cancer and died. That is not a conspiracy theory. That is not tin hat BS stuff. Okay, that's concrete, hard facts. Nobody immediately gets cancer or heart condition, etc. And there's more articles coming out, and people are finally realizing that they got duped. Okay, they got duped. And I'm not trying to rub any salt in the wound for any of my viewers out there that may have taken the jab, but there is a glimmer of hope in that situation, that there's a possibility that the first jabs out there were placebos to make people, say, oh, I feel great, nothing happened, see me, nothing happened to me, ha ha ha, But, and then afterwards, the quote-unquote boosters were the ones that are causing the damage. And it's long-term damage. It's not short-term, because you do all of a sudden people start dropping off, then it's noticeable. But if they do long-term thing, it's not as noticeable. They'll think, oh, they just died of natural causes, when they didn't. They might have lived 40 more years. They just kicked the bucket. Lady down the street here, I told her, don't get that jab. She got it anyway. She went and got a couple more boosters. I don't know how many times she went to the hospital, heart surgery and all kinds of other stuff. She's on the way out now. She's on the way out. You know what I mean? She's on the way out. And then there were other people around me that just died. No explanation. Yeah. It's for real. I just hope that any of you that got the first jab didn't get any quote-unquote boosters, right? I hope that you did not. Stay away from that garbage. Don't get a quote-unquote flu shot either. Probably putting mRNA in those two as well. Probably put all that crap in those as well. You can't trust any doctor. You can't trust any nurse. You can't trust that profession no more. You can't. They killed my brother. The quote-unquote hospital killed my brother. My older brother is dead. They put him on a ventilator. They gave him remdesivir. Despite the family's objections for certain things, I wasn't involved in that because I didn't even know at the time, because my brother was living across country, right? Or I would have stopped. I would have stopped him going in there. He said, well, if all this stuff is fake, why were people getting sick? Because they didn't make the quote-unquote cure for the virus. They made the virus so that they could inject people, right? That's right. Trying to depopulate people. Too many useless eaters for all those elites. They want to get rid of us. That's right. Coming up on Christmas, it's supposed to be merry. But you know what? We got to keep our guards up. You can't let your guards down even though it's Christmas time. People were going to also say, well, what happened to the rapture? Everybody talking about the rapture. Nothing's happened yet. But we're still on the timeline, guys. We're still within the rapture window. Because the Antichrist has not revealed himself yet. The Antichrist cannot reveal himself until the rapture has already happened. So the rapture must happen, and then the Antichrist must reveal himself. The timeline is correct of a second coming of Jesus in 2031 or 2032. And that means that the rapture must happen sometime between today and mid 2028, 2027, 2028. So sometime between mid 2027 and mid 2028, the rapture should happen if all the calculations are right. If the calculations aren't right, then something's wonky and has to be investigated more. But we are very close. Very close. A few years, even if it were 10 years window, even if it were, what is that in comparison to 2,000 years since Jesus? It's like a drop in the bucket in years. I mean, you could do 10 years standing on your head. Everybody wants it now. Everybody wants it yesterday, the rapture, But it's going to come. Just got to be ready and waiting, watching for Jesus, And that is their whole reason for the season anyways. Jesus, right? Yeah. Got the heavy duty black neck gaiter on. I told you guys I was going to get one in black. I got the other one. It's like an oatmeal color or something. And I was so impressed with it that I got this black one. This is Irish merino wool neck gaiter. And I got it tucked in to this wool-rich wool midweight wool sweater. So pretty awesome setup. And then I got all of this inside of my wool-rich wool winter pants, trousers with some suspenders. These suspenders were designed for the purpose because these wool-rich trousers have the buttons on them for this type of suspender setup, you know. Our fathers and grandfathers used to hunt in this. That's right, no camouflage. The checkerboard check tartan, right? It's not really about the color, it's just about breaking up the outline, the visual, right? With animals, they don't always see color like we do. They see things differently. Blue is a terrible color, for instance, to wear with deer. If you're a deer hunter, blue sticks out like a sore thumb. Just remember that. Alright guys, I'm going to come back in a video soon. Could be before Christmas. Yeah, I'm running short. But remember, the reason for the season is Jesus. Jesus took the payment for all of our sin. Remember, don't let those other crazies get you down. You stand up to them. Stand up to them for Jesus. Jesus is God. Isaiah 44:6, Revelation 1. That's right. Go read those. John 10:30. That's right. Jesus is God come in the flesh. Amen. We'll see you soon. Be safe.